Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader, reading books for you. Today, I will be reading Chapter 53 from Two Worlds, a novel of friends and foes from strange places. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the author, Laura T. Lee, for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The next morning, the phone rang quite loudly. Lily woke with a yell of surprise and snatched up the phone. "Who is it?" she demanded. "Lily?" a voice on the other end said. "Teresa, what do you want?" Lily glanced at the clock, which told her it was 8 o'clock in the morning. "I sent Sandra and Marissa back to the elfin world. Jake's siblings can still assist you in fighting Sophie, unless they really want to come back." With that, Teresa hung up. Lily told a relieved Tara and Stacy their families were safe, thanks to Teresa. Stacy was still on alert, though. "We're not safe," she insisted. "Sophie might already be on her way as we speak." "We can get to Sophie first," Lily assured. "We can end this battle once and for all." And she kept her promise. At least, the first part, sort of. That afternoon, they visited her apartment, where she borrowed her mom's car, giving Tara the keys in the hope that she wouldn't crash the vehicle into a tree. After texting Teresa, which felt really weird, she found out that Sophie was probably at Central Park. She ended up next to Tara in the front. Stacy and Jake with his lucky penny were together in the back. She tried to give Tara a 5-second driver's need-to-knows, but her friend waved away the instructions. "I took driving lessons on the elfin world," she said. 5 minutes later, Lily regretted choosing Tara as the driver. Behind the wheel, she was a maniac. Sharp turns didn't bother her, neither did traffic stops. "Stop the car!" Squirrels on the road. "You're going to run that furry thing over!" Or pigeons. "Aw, so cute! Watch out!" People jumped to one side as the car swerved wildly on the road. But, to be optimistic, they arrived at the park in one piece. Stacy peeled herself off the back seat. "Can't we travel anywhere safely?" she groaned. Jake opened the door and staggered into the sunlight, holding his stomach. From the way he looked, Lily could tell he didn't approve of Tara's driving skills. "See, I did it," Tara said triumphantly. Stacy gagged. "Tara, you failed your driving test." "Guys, calm down." Lily exited the car. Where was Sophie? The day was clear and bright, and yet there was no sorceress in sight. But suddenly, the park turned eerily quiet, and Lily knew they weren't alone. She turned to find Sophie charging at her, snarling. "Get the coin!" Lily shrieked. Jake fumbled the coin out of his pocket and threw it at her. As it hit the ground, it turned into the cannon. Lily realized that there was nothing to light the long fuse. But then she got a closer look at the weapon. The long brown rope was coiled in a little circle, almost as though it were a button. Lily slammed her fist down on the fuse, and the cannon fired with a bang. A silver blob of liquid metal fell on the grass and did nothing. Great, Lily thought. They had an weird blob on the grass that might possibly, just possibly, come to life. 2 seconds later, the liquid puddle squirmed on the ground and rippled. The blob flattened out on the ground, and a figure rose out of it. Even Sophie stopped in her confusion, hesitating. A panther clawed its way out of the silver puddle and growled at Sophie. Jake whistled. "That's not a person." "That's a panther," Tara yelled, which at this point was pretty obvious. Sophie wrapped the panther in magic, and it disappeared in a flash of gray lights with a howl of surprise. For her next trick, she pulverized the cannon with a flick of her hand. The sorceress laughed. "I hold more power than all of you combined," she said. "And you still think you can defeat me?" She stomped her foot, and gray mist collected in front of them, forming a giant pigeon. The squawking bird solidified. It glared down at Lily with hate. "Pigeon!" Stacy shouted, which, by the way, doesn't get the same reaction as screaming, "Shark!" The pigeon ruffled its gray plumage and screeched a high and scratchy sound that set Lily's teeth chattering. "That is not good," Jake decided. "Run!" Tara screamed. The bird squawked and moved at a surprisingly fast speed. Lily and her friends left the smiling Sophie behind and fled, climbing in the car with Tara at the wheel. As they barreled down the road with tires screeching, Jake said, "Well, I'm not going to visit that park ever again." "We're being chased by a giant member of the dove family, and you're thinking about a park?" Lily shouted. Squawk! The pigeon chomped on the back of the car. Lily just hoped that she could find a decent excuse for her mother about the car. "Why is there a huge dent on my trunk?" "Oh, well, we were being chased by a giant pigeon with a bad temper." How truthful. "Hold on!" Tara yelled. She swerved off the road, shot up a hill, and launched off it, sailing over a canal without bothering to find a bridge. Below them, a fishing boat floated calmly in the water, as if the passengers on board saw cars being chased by giant pigeons every day. Bang! The car slammed into the curb on the other side. Unfortunately, the pigeon just flew over to them. Lily hoped the vehicle wouldn't get any major injuries. A broken axle? Perhaps. Or a flat tire. Tara returned to the road. "We'll have to get to the highway," she said. "Oh no," Lily thought. Stacy tapped her on the shoulder. The pigeon's gaining on us." Lily looked into the mirror. The giant bird was very close to them now. Fortunately, car mirrors always said, "Objects appear to be closer than they seem." Tara turned the car sharply into the highway and sped up. Other vehicles honked their horns and swerved as the pigeon wreaked chaos and destruction. Lily realized that they were rapidly speeding toward the state border. She wanted to stay in the city. "Brake!" Lily yelled. Tara stomped on the brake as Lily grabbed the wheel and turned it. The car screeched a full 180 degrees until it faced the huge bird. "Gas!" she shouted. The car zoomed forward right under the pigeon, which promptly sat down on them. That was unexpected. Lily had meant to speed back to the buildings, but the pigeon snapped at the air and droppings sloshed over the windshield. Tara activated the wipers. In the back, Stacy and Jake gagged in disgust. "That's a bunch of crap," Jake yelled. The pigeon continued to use the car as a toilet. Stuck under its rear, Lily could only hope that the roof didn't cave in under their weights of dung. Tara pressed her hand to the horn hard, and the bird momentarily flew up in surprise and confusion. In that moment, Tara floored the gas and the car zoomed forward, dodging cars like crazy. "Left! Watch out for that car!" Lily screamed. "Pigeon's coming!" Jake warned. Soon they were back on the streets, the car covered in white crap. Tara steered the vehicle to the parking lot outside Lily's apartment, where they paused for a rest. Lily called Teresa on her phone. Teresa, just so you know, there's a giant pigeon on the loose that gave my mom's car a new paint job. Also, we could really use some help with finding Sophie. Bye. 2 minutes later, Lily and her friends found Army-issued missile launchers appearing in their hands in a flash of gray light. Now that I think of it, Stacy said, I feel sorry for the pigeon. They clambered back into their poop-covered car and sped off in pursuit of the massive bird. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for Chapter 54. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book.